Welcome to UCLA and to Royce Hall. I'm Kelly Wall, Assistant Dean for Student Achievement in the College of Letters and Science. Thank you so much for coming together during these unprecedented times to celebrate our graduates of the class of 2020. We are honoring the achievements of the bachelor's and master's degree recipients from the College of Letters and Science, the UCLA International Institute, the Samueli School of Engineering, the Alpert School of Music, the School of Nursing, and the School of Theater, Film, and Television. Before we begin, the leadership of these ceremonies at UCLA acknowledges our presence on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Gabrielino Tongva peoples. Today, the world is a different place than when we were last able to gather this way in the spring to honor our graduating class. We bring to this event our experience of a global pandemic, our commitment to address racial injustice at UCLA, and our hope for the years ahead to be filled with the many accomplishments and contributions of our graduates. To everyone in attendance today, I want to offer my congratulations. As the family members and friends of our graduates, you have enriched their lives with your love and support throughout their studies, whether their classes were held on campus here in Westwood or in each of your homes, courtesy of the internet. Together, our entire community at UCLA shares your pride and thanks you. At this time, please turn off your cell phones, or at least be sure that they're on vibrate. We encourage you to take photos or videos from your seats. Please do not stand in the aisles because we cannot block them during the ceremony. Family and friends of our graduates, I am very proud to present the class of 2020. It is my pleasure to introduce the Senior Dean of the College of Letters and Science and Dean of Humanities, David Scoberg.
Thank you very much, Kelly. As I've thought about how to address you today, class of 2020, I found that my thoughts keep coming back to the question of community, and specifically to the challenges of community. Oh, would you please be seated while I speak? Yeah, I don't want to keep you standing. I think well, we can do some more standing up later. Obviously a very intimate kind of ceremony, and let's treat it that way. Again, As I reflect on what this is for us today, I reflect on the challenges of community. You graduated in 2020, and you've come back after a period of 2 very difficult years, years away from campus, perhaps, years away from Los Angeles, even California, perhaps, and you've come back for a gathering here on campus, which is part of the fundamental ritual of university education, and of becoming an adult, entering your career, beginning the life that comes after a major part of your education has already come to an end. Now, what I've just mentioned is, of course, a ritual that marks a rite of passage. And I want us to reflect together that we're having this ritual in this space, which is designed for a ritual of this kind. It's a multimedia space. It's a stage on which many performers have performed. It's a space beautifully equipped with music. It's also a space that in fairly obvious ways alludes to the long history of the university in the Western European context. You can look around, you can see the inspiration of an Italian basilica on this building. And if you're careful readers of architecture, you can read other things in this building, pronouncements that were placed here nearly 100 years ago that have to do with what we're doing here together. I think most prominently here above the stage, probably can't see it from where you're sitting here, but those of you who are further back in the hall can see it. Education is learning the tools which the race has found indispensable. Good. You've been here, whether at the graduate level or at the undergraduate level, gathering the tools which the race has found indispensable, that uncompromising singularity of race. We, the human beings, have found these tools indispensable. We, the human beings, have found it necessary to pass these tools on generation to generation for fear of losing them and for fear of losing the goods that they bring us. If you've been a really careful reader of Royce Hall during your years at UCLA, you may also have noticed that a quote from Josiah Royce himself, the philosopher, unfortunately a Berkeley philosopher, a philosopher who was the namesake of this building. There's a quote just outside the southeast door there, which you can look at on your way out later on today, which insists that, hold on, I've got to get it right. I think it's, the world is a continually self-realizing community of interpretation. That is, the world demands of us, and the world comes into being because of our acts of shared interpretation. That is, our diving into the difficulties of community, the challenge of being together, the challenge of being together as a single generation, the challenge of being together over a period of generations, over a number of generations, and the larger challenge of being together and holding ourselves together as a nation and as a world of nations. And I don't think I need to go on too long about how your education at UCLA will have equipped you for that noble and indispensable mission. During your time at UCLA, the greatest public research university in the land, you have taken on difficulties of your own choosing, out of your own calling, out of your own vocation, out of your own desires for the future and for the good use of your human time. You've chosen to educate yourselves as experts in the disciplines and the fields that you've chosen. You've done it with some of the best researchers and best instructors that could be found anywhere. And you've done it together, among each other, continually inspiring each other, continually challenging each other, and continually testing each other's ability to cooperate and to build things together in an atmosphere of trust and mutual support. I think if you reflect on what the university is, you'll recognize that it's a very special sort of community. In a way, it's a laboratory for larger communities, democracies, communities in which each of us, on the basis of our own equality and our own convictions, can interact with each other through reason, through understanding, and through support. It doesn't always work perfectly. The university as a sort of model community is not always a model community. It's a place where, as in any other community, challenges arise and where there's no one but us, to reckon with those challenges together. And it's really, for me, in that context, that those indispensable tools and that continually emerging community of interpretation come to matter. Think of this room, think of our strange ritual garb as part of a sort of launch pad for you, as if from here through this ritual, with this ordeal, this rite of passage behind you, you're launched forward into whatever new community, new workplace, new group of friends you're going to occupy. And remember this moment in those places and in those communities. Remember the experience of UCLA and the best communities, the best networks, the best supportive friendships you've been able to maintain here. Beginnings of lifelong friendships in many cases. Remember the difficulties you've been through here. Remember the specific troubles of this extremely challenging pandemic time. Remember the sorrow that came with this time and the joy that came with coming back to campus, coming back into live human community once we were able to do that. This experience, as difficult as it was for all of us here, this is an experience that will, in certain ways, be useful to remember for you in the future, to look back at a time when, although you were terribly challenged, you were also brilliantly successful. That is, you managed to come back, to recreate this community together, and to take something of the values that you've built here together at UCLA forward with you into your future career. This is what the college, what the university can be for you, a continual touch point, a continual source, and a continual point of memory for you of what your education has meant to you and what you've been able to do here. Another small point that I want to make before I conclude: all of you have been involved in learning, of course. That's a rather obvious thing that goes on at the university. But I hope you also recognize that part of your learning has been to train as teachers, to train as mentors. You're experts in your fields, but you've also experienced some of the greatest teachers around. And UCLA is a place that is singularly devoted to the art of good teaching. That means that as you go forward, you have a special new vocation on top of any other vocation and calling that you may have found, and that's the vocation of teacher and mentor. You're people who have experienced a strong academic community. You're people who have experienced a community in which recognition, the valuing of other people's uniqueness has clearly mattered throughout. Those are values, those are convictions, and those are practices that you can take forward so that in any encounter with another human being, you'll be in a position to carry on some of the Bruin values and indeed to contribute to the flourishing of those values in the world beyond campus. I hope dearly for you, for all of the people you meet, and for UCLA itself, that you're able to do that, to work as a mentor, as a supporter, as a person who can recognize the other people's difficulties and help them through. That's one of our fundamental missions here. I'm grateful to all of you for the hard work, for the resilience, the patience that you've shown during these years. I'm excited about what you will do as you go out into the world. I'm extremely grateful to the families, the partners, the friends who've supported you during this difficult time and who have shared this difficult time with you. And above all, I want to congratulate you as the UCLA Class of 2020 for all you have done and for all you will do in the coming years. Congratulations to you. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our young alumnus speaker, Melissa Nessman. Melissa graduated from the Division of Humanities of the College of Letters and Sciences with a Bachelor of Arts in English. Please welcome Melissa.
Good afternoon, graduates and guests. It is a great honor and privilege to be invited back to my alma mater to help celebrate the class of 2020. Today marks a day you can commemorate this final milestone all Bruins look forward to, crossing the stage and becoming an official graduate. And as a fellow Bruin, let's be real. We all thought of this moment and began planning from the moment we received our acceptance letter. Standing here on stage, I begin to reminisce on some of my favorite everyday UCLA moments. Every morning approaching Bruin Walk, we were greeted with, "Excuse me, sir, can I ask you a question?" At the same time, students walked with their earbuds in, Disney songs blasting, heads facing down, avoiding eye contact, and steering away from the infamous flyering. Now, I won't lie, I often peeked up to see which club was selling Portos. In the afternoon, we all searched for Powell Cat, but if we couldn't find him, we knew we would see some friendly pups to pet. As we made our way up Jan's steps, we made sure to skip the 6th step, and before heading into any final, we stopped to rub the Bruin bear paw, just as our NSAs at orientation always told us to. To this day, I still believe my rubbing of the Bruin paw is the reason why in 2018, UCLA defeated that school across town and brought back the victory bell right to where it belongs. Yeah, you can cheer, it's okay. Now, my memories as a student, and with my name being called, crossing the stage, and turning my tassel to the left. At that moment, I began my new chapter with a new set of memories, becoming a UCLA alumna. Many students know when their college experience will end, graduation day. All students have that countdown on their first day of their final quarter. I knew my last day was June 14th, 2019. Yours should have been June of 2020. But little did we know your UCLA experience would come to a halt in March of 2020. You had no warning, no countdown. Your senior year gone. Instead of going around saying your name, major, and fun fact about yourself in spring quarter, you began saying, "Can you hear me? Are you able to see my screen?" These screens became your new classrooms. There was no separation between school and home. However, Bruins are resilient. You found ways to overcome an experience no graduating class has ever had to undergo. Your journey was not easy, having to navigate multiple obstacles, technological issues, time zones, moving back with your families, finding childcare, facing food or housing insecurity, experiencing medical conditions, and even dealing with the loss of someone who couldn't be here today. While juggling all of that, you still managed to wake up, log on to class, whether you wanted to or not, and completed your degree. Not to mention a degree from the #1 public university in the nation, all throughout a pandemic. Class of 2020, you did that. As you leave this room today, I challenge you to associate your UCLA experience with more than just the disruption of COVID. Unlike my commencement, you entered this room as alumni, not as students. Your new chapter and set of memories has already begun. When you leave today, go take a stroll. Rub the Bruin paw, take a deep breath on an empty Bruin walk, skip the 6th step, and hey, maybe if you're lucky, you'll spot Powell Cat. Take these experiences you gained at UCLA and apply them into the real world. Remember, each Bruin has a unique experience that has shaped them to who they are today. For me, it was my high involvement with orientation, residential life, and club sports that allowed me to make lifelong connections with my coworkers, residents, and peers, including many of you here today, which is why I'm standing here celebrating with you all. Thank you, and once again, congratulations to each and every single one of you.
Thank you, Melissa. Now, when you became Bruins, one of your rites of passage was to uphold our true Bruin values of respect, accountability, integrity, service, and excellence. And as alumni, you're Bruins for life, and you remain an important part of our extended community. I want to share with you UCLA's principles of community, which are published in our mission statement. I'll read several of the principles to you, and then I'll ask you to make a pledge with me to uphold them as you join other communities around us, communities that will find their greatest success because you, as Bruins, are part of them. I quote, "We believe that diversity is critical to maintaining excellence in all of our endeavors. We seek to foster open-mindedness, understanding, compassion, and inclusiveness among individuals and groups. We are committed to ensuring freedom of expression and dialogue in a respectful and civil manner on the spectrum of views held by our varied and diverse campus communities. We acknowledge that modern societies carry historical and divisive biases, and we seek to promote awareness and understanding through education and research, and to mediate and resolve conflicts that arise from these biases in our communities. Silently, please join me in this pledge. We will commit together to uphold these principles of community in Westwood and in our communities beyond." Thank you. All right, now is the moment we've been anticipating. Would the first row of graduates please stand and begin your approach to the stage? Great. Graduates, we recognize you today for your individual achievements, and we present you as UCLA graduates to your family and friends. Our master's degree recipients will be followed by our bachelor's degree recipients. The graduates will cross our stage and pause for a photo. And for the recognition of their achievements by everyone gathered here today, I do hope you'll make as much noise as possible despite the rather small size of the crowd. You'll proceed forward following the arrows, which will bring you back to your seats. May our celebration of your accomplishments commence.
Melissa Elaine Arizmendi. Mimi Triang. Jennifer Isabel Tarango. Maha Rafi. Jessica Panahi. Roxanne Marianne Cook. Nicholas James Scalise. Natasha Nicole Koch. Gigi Yi. Rima Khalifa. Juria Arimoto. Sakura Yasui. Dana Lynn Dixon. Yijin Zhu. Ketan Ravindra Kapre. Eleni Jane Malekos Quick. Yo-Yo Wu. Philanios Monk Sorrel Freed. Thomas Holditch. Fiona Gao. Tianai Ren. Alexander Yi. Michaela Garib. Zihong An Zhang. Zihuen Amy Wong. Landon Kelt Miller. Suna Elaine Zhang. Carlene March Francis.
Thank you all. In the spring of 2020, the Chancellor conferred your degrees, and at this time I want to revisit that moment with an acknowledgement of his words. More than anything, the Chancellor hoped that your experience at UCLA has opened up some windows on the world for you and leaves you yearning to know more. Your experience at UCLA is just the beginning of a life of continuing discovery, and the skills you've acquired here, the tools, in and outside the classroom, will serve you well in this rapidly changing world. When we gathered here today, perhaps your tassel was on the left, which is correct. If it isn't, please take this opportunity to turn your tassel, if you've got one, while we listen to UCLA's alma mater, Hail to the Hills of Westwood. We are so very proud of you, class of 2020. Please stand and be acknowledged by your family and friends. Please be seated. Guests, please remember that you must remain seated until the graduates have exited the ceremony. Family and friends, we're grateful that you joined us today and that you've played such important roles in the success of the graduates. I'll leave you with the words of John Wooden. Success is never final. Failure is never fatal. It's courage that counts. Congratulations, and go Bruins.